onboarding.
Got it.
Got it.
Excellent. All right, Andrew, would you like to kick us off? Maybe we could do a round of introductions and
That's a really good
welcome.
idea.
Love that.
Welcome, everybody. So excited. This is not everybody who's going to be mentors in this coming cohort, but it's a bunch of you and a bunch of new faces. So it's awesome to see. And I'm so excited to meet all of you. Yeah, first thing we should do is just go around and each of us, is there a standard format for this? Let's see. Name, pronouns, location.
Yeah.
And what else?
Maybe team that you're mentoring. if
Oh
you're
yeah,
mentoring
which
a
team you're mentoring? Like what you're doing this time. So I'm Andrew. I'm founder of Collab Lab. I'm in Portland, Oregon. So US West Coast. Oregon is the state just north of California. For many people who are out of the United States who may not know where Oregon is. Yeah, my pronouns are he, him, and yeah, this time around, I'm not going to be actually directly mentoring a team. I mentored the advanced project last time with Lauren, but yeah, I'm just going to be focusing on kind of program level stuff this time and just supporting all of you. So, Stacy, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm co-founder of Collab Lab. I am in California, in the middle. What else? Oh, pronouns, she, her, hers. And I too am not directly mentoring any teams, but rather working on program level stuff and supporting you all as well. So yeah, I do a lot of the code of conduct stuff too. So we'll go over that in a little bit, but that's me. I'll pass it to Lauren.
Nice. Hi, everyone. I think I've met almost everyone. My name is Lauren. I live in Minnesota in the US. Minnesota is right next to Canada, basically. My pronouns are she, her. I am not mentoring this time around, but I am here to, I am here supporting all the mentors. So I'll be, I help coordinate mentors for teams for the Collab Lab, and then I will be a lot more involved for this cohort, just supporting you and answering questions for mentors, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I'm here for. And I will pass it to, is it Eva or Eva?
It's Eva.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Eva. I'm currently based in Brussels, Belgium. So it's a lovely afternoon, evening here. Very sunny and nice. Not typical for Belgium, I might add. Pronouns are she, her, hers. It's my first time mentoring. I'm very excited. I think I'm group 35, so Europe Africa team. But yeah, like super looking forward to meeting you all and for this to start. Oh, right. Next one, Muhammad.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Mohammed here. I am second time mentor at TCL. My first being a mentor, it was TCL 19. So not the last one, but the one before that. And this time around, I would be mentoring the European African team. So that would be TCL 35, same as Eva. Currently, I'm based in Helsinki, Finland. And I'm a software consultant currently working in Finland. So next would be Alejandro, if I'm pronouncing it right. Alejandro.
Yes, it's correct. Hi everyone, I am Alejandro. I am in La Paz, Bolivia, South America. My pronoun is he, him. And this time, the last cohort, I was a participant, but now I'm so happy and excited because this time I am assistant mentor for the team TCL 34 for Latin America. Thank you. Next, Jonathan, is correct, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Jonathan. I also go by Jono. I'm living in Seattle, Washington, the US, so a few hours north of where Andrew is living. My pronouns are he, him, his, and this is also my second time mentoring. I mentored TCL 22, so kind of in the same time Muhammad was first mentoring as well, and I'll be mentoring team 32 this time around. I would say Golfo next.
Golfo.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, great. So I'm Golfo. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from Greece. I was a mentor in the same team as Mohammed and another team afterwards. I don't remember the number. I think it was 25. Anyway, it was another Europe-Africa team. And this time I'll be mentoring for the second Europe-Africa team. I'm very excited that we have two teams, and I'm positive that I'll have a great experience as I had the previous two times. So I'm looking forward for the next cohort to start. And I think Tanner hasn't introduced himself.
No, not yet.
So-
Yeah, my name is Tanner. He, him, his. I am from San Diego, California. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, I'm representing Team 33. And maybe James, keep it in the one password family.
Thanks, Tanner. I'm James. I'm he, him, his. I've now forgotten the list. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in Canada. We're far enough east in North America that we get our own time zone. So we're ahead of even New York. I'm outside right now with my dogs. I'm not on a team because I joined too late for this round. So I'm just figuring it out next round. I don't know who at this point. iPad is not helping.
Looks like Shazia, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, this is Shadra. It's she, her, and hers. I will be representing Team 31, the North America team. And what else? That is it. And I'm currently living in Tennessee, but soon I will be moving to DC. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I think Unati.
Hi, everyone. I'm Unati. I use pronouns she/her. I'll be mentoring TCL 26, I think, team number. And this is my first time mentoring. I am based in India, near central India, so Nagpur. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you. Is there anyone left? I think, yeah.
David, he put his in the chat, so he's at the beach. Feel bad for him, but I guess it's noisy there. Maybe there's some wind or something. So, yeah, he's in Valencia. He, him, second time mentor, and we'll be on one of the Europe Africa teams. I'm not sure what the numbers are. There he is. Oh man!
Oh,
all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
What a life.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Lauren, you want to share your screen? We have some materials to go through. Those of you who've mentored before have probably seen a lot of this, but it's great to have you here so you can kind of share your experiences and answer questions for our new people.
Yeah. Also, be loud in the chat. Like if you have experiences as we're going over them, just share them in the chat so that people can really get a robust sense of what it's like mentoring.
Yeah, for sure. Good point. All right, so you're all here. It's too late, but I'm going to tell you what Collab Lab is now. So, so hope you are getting into the right thing. So Collab Lab, it's remote collaborative project practice. So the idea is that we help early career developers learn how professional software teams work. Something that's really hard to simulate if you're self-studying or even in most boot camps. So it's a free program for our participants, for the developers, and it's all volunteer driven. So all of you giving your time is what makes it happen. So thank you so much for being here. Everybody who participates in all Collab Lab things, including our tech talks and other activities that we do, Career Lab, all those things, they all agree to adhere to our code of conduct. So I think Stacy might be talking about that a little bit more later, but yeah, it's sort of a prerequisite to being part of the community. There are two things that we think really kind of really differentiate us from similar programs. So we are focused on collaboration as opposed to teaching coding itself. And so the way that we go about that, there's a couple things that are important to that. So pair programming is sort of the cornerstone to the project experience for our developers. You know, people come in at different levels and with different sets of skills and things. It's kind of different points in their journey in tech. And so by pairing people together, you know, we just feel like they're better equipped to kind of handle the stories and to kind of bring a Venn diagram of skills and experiences to each of the tasks. So they learn from each other, they teach each other, but one of the kind of fun things is that they're articulating concepts verbally, sometimes for the first time, after maybe, you know, reading and listening to videos and things. They just never said the words. And so, you know, going into your first tech interview, not ever having said, you know, Redux or something like that, like that actually is kind of it's a very practical kind of real impediment to them doing well in interviews. So, you know, one of the big things we think, you know, one of the big kind of good outcomes of Collab Lab is 8 weeks of just talking about tech with other people. So pair programming it's a big part of that. Then the other thing is just our emphasis on psychological safety. So, you know, we really are doing our best here to set up an you know, kind of an environment where people can feel okay failing, like they can take risks, they can try things, and when things don't go well, because they don't always go perfectly, you know, we're supporting them and telling them it's okay. Like you know, let's learn what we can learn from it. We'll keep moving. So yeah, people, you know, lots of past participants have said that it's felt safe to fail at Collab Lab, which is exactly what we want to hear. Yeah, we kind of help as mentors by modeling kind of that that transparency and vulnerability. So, you know, if you make a mistake, you can be in your team channel and say like, oh, you know, you made that mistake, but here we're fixing it or something. And by doing that, it shows them that it's okay for even a professional developer to you know, to stumble once in a while. So, so our participants, we expect from them just 5 hours a week of their time. They're put on these teams of 4. They work through this project for 8 weeks, pairing off each week, each pair taking 1 story per week. And if, you know, they're working through in that way, they'll get to a finished app. But it really is, we're asking them for, we want it to be around 5 hours a week so that they can do this alongside a full-time job or caregiving responsibilities, or if some people are still in their boot camp and those kinds of things. So we're trying to kind of keep the barriers low to people participating. It's very common for that time to go over 5 hours. If it does, for reasons that are due to like the scope of the tickets or something like that, we want to know so we can make adjustments. Sometimes people do choose to just spend more time on it because they have the time and they're learning a lot and they get excited and things. But we don't want people to burn out on the experience, if that makes sense. Yeah, in terms of mentor expectations, so yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that you can do is to be encouraging, to be a cheerleader for these people, because they're taking a risk. They're very nervous when they come in their first week or two. You know, they don't really know what to expect, and they're meeting a bunch of new people and all that kind of thing. So, you know, for you to be engaged and supportive and responsive and communicative goes a long way to helping them kind of settle in and learn what the routine is and just get comfortable. And the other aspect of this kind of characteristic of a great Collab Lab mentor that we think is this concept of a warm demander. And this comes from the education field, but it has to do with like really believing in them, building trust with them, yeah, teaching self-discipline, embracing failure, but just like you believe in them, like in ways that maybe they don't believe in themselves. And you say like, you know, I know that you can do this, you know, just, you know, I'm here to support you. You know, let me, you know, in any way that I can, like, you know, if it's, and if you get stuck, you know, let me know, but I know you can do this. And that sometimes this gives them the confidence to try. And then they find out that they actually are capable of doing great things. So, so you have a ton of support too. Like if you and your team, you know, you're going to be on a team of 3 or 4 mentors with, you know, 4 collabs with 4 of the developers. But you are not alone in that. Like you have all the past mentors who've done this with the program are here to help you. Stacy and I and Lauren, you know, none of us are mentoring teams directly this time, so we have tons of time to, you know, if you are, you know, feel like this thing happened, I'm not sure, I feel a little uncomfortable about it or something, you could talk it through with any of us, with your team and with us at any time. We've been through a lot of teams at this point, so we've seen lots of ways that things can go off the rails, and this we're usually pretty good at helping brainstorm some ideas for how to kind of keep things keeping things positive. So with that, I will turn it over to Stacy or Lauren. I'm not sure who's next. But
yeah, I think I'm going to have Stacy talk about code of conduct responders right here, because that'll be a good segue, I think.
Awesome.
Great.
Yes. Okay. In the chat, I'm going to drop a link to our code of conduct page on our website. So as Andrew already briefly mentioned, at the Collab Lab, we live by a code of conduct that is meant to help us give our Collabbies a psychologically safe space to learn and grow and build community. So if you haven't already read this, please do. I hope that you already have. But if not, refresh, go here, read through it. Some things that are notable are that each of your teams will have their own professionally trained code of conduct responders. So again, we take it very seriously. We pay to have some of our mentors go get trained on how to respond to incidents and how to be a good ambassador of a code of conduct program. So each of you will have your own code of conduct responder on your team. That code of conduct responder is going to have a check-in with each of the members of your team just to see how they're doing, just to give them space to talk about anything that could be improved or anything that made them uncomfortable or just anything that's going really well that we should keep doing. We don't have it in our process yet to also check in individually with mentors, but please feel totally empowered to reach out to your code of conduct person or me or the entire code of conduct group, which you can find at codeofconduct@collablab@gmail.com on this site. But one thing that we have found really helpful is that if you are noticing something a little uncomfortable happening on your team, you see somebody struggling, somebody maybe isn't taking feedback well, or just anything that might feel like it could escalate, keep your code of conduct responder in the loop. Have a direct message with your mentors and that code of conduct responder just to give status reports on what is happening so that your code of conduct responder isn't kind of blindsided when they go into a one-on-one with that person and that person is unhappy or uncomfortable or whatever it might be. So try and have a really close relationship with your code of conduct responder, letting them know how your team's going. They'll be in touch with each of the people on your team, but we are all here for you too. It's really important that our mentors have a good experience at Collab Lab and also feel psychologically safe and learn and grow and feel like a valuable part of the community. So that's our code of conduct. We're here for you. Let us know what we can do. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely leaned on our code of conduct responders in the past. Super useful for me to have that person be a sounding board for maybe a way I want to try to approach a challenge that we might be having with the team. I'll ask Andrew for advice. We're all here for you to help you navigate anything that comes up, really.
And I want to point out too, the way that we talk about all this sounds like there's always these flare-ups and stuff, but honestly, in our time at Collab Lab over the past 2 years, there have been very, very few things that would even need to be brought up with the code of conduct team, and we've never had to respond to a code of conduct incident. So there's never been anything really alarming, but even the nitty-gritty granular things of learning, helping your team learn how to grow through feedback and stuff is something that I feel like we can contribute to really well. So we're here for anything. It doesn't have to be some big major event. It can just be, I would like some advice or be a sounding board, like Lauren said, on this little thing that's happening.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So I'm responsible for the section that's fire hose of information. So just know that you have access to this site and you do not have to remember everything that I say right now. So sorry in advance. Some things that you can do to prepare if this is your first time being a mentor for the Collab Lab. Each smart shopping list, right, that participants all work on the same project throughout their time at the Collab Lab. It's a smart shopping list. There's a template repository that you can just fork. One, I would suggest going through both the orientation document. There's an orientation markdown file, and then there's a project brief markdown file. Those are really good resources for you to have a beginning understanding of what the project's going to be like going forward. It's a really great idea if you can to complete the project ahead of time. The project is divided into, I think, 13 user stories. And just so you have a good understanding of what the Collabies are going to be doing on their project, and so you know kind of what the gotchas are ahead of time, it's really helpful for you to have at least taken a look at all of those issues for sure. Let's see. Oh, please, this week, people are applying during this week, and then we're going to have cohort selection. So once those teams are selected, please start to be really active in Slack, welcoming the people onto your team and be really encouraging and excited. We want to kind of create that, that joy and enthusiasm and excitement to get to work with all these great developers. So please be active in Slack. And then just be really aware of your personal calendar going forward. I know that there are a couple of weeks that someone's going to be gone and I'll fill in for them. So just let me know ahead of time if you maybe need some support during your time. Okay, so onboarding your team, we've been talking about this, but be super duper encouraging. I know even as a mentor, getting to know, like being a first-time mentor for sure, and then even just getting to know new mentors on your team and getting to know the participants, like that is a vulnerable experience for you. But just imagine what it's like for the participants, right? They're going to be very nervous that everyone knows more than they do, and they're not going to be able to do it, right? They have a lot of they're nervous coming into this project. So please be warm, open, super encouraging. That's what we're all about at the Collab Lab. So lots of cheerleading, really going overboard with that encouragement so that, you know, we let them know that we believe in them. Making sure that developers are set up for the project. We'll talk about this during the Collabie orientation, but their first assignment before that 8 weeks begin is to add themselves as a contributor to, there's a contributors markdown file in the project. We really want to make sure that that the participants have their project set up locally on their machine and they can run it and they're able to connect to GitHub before the project starts. We found in the past that people were too nervous to say anything and maybe they weren't able to clone the project successfully, or they were running into like weird node version issues, and like all kinds of goofy things can happen when you're trying to configure a project on your machine. So just really check in with your team to make sure that they're able to get the project up and running and to be able to push their contribution up to GitHub. And then it's a really good idea to set those scheduling expectations with your team. So I work during such and such hours, but you can almost always expect a response from me on Slack in this kind of time frame. You know, I'll get to you by the end of the day. It's just nice to check in on Slack, but also to really set those expectations. Like this is collaboration practice for remote teams. So we want to teach them and share what it's like to work on a remote team, to know that the collaboration and communication is often asynchronous. So they don't always have to expect a response from you immediately, but setting the expectation with them when you can respond is really helpful. So soon, this week is application week. We'll make selections, and then the week before the project starts officially, which I think is October 3rd officially, we'll host 3 to 4 Collabie orientation sessions. If you can attend one of those, that would be just fantastic. And to have like probably Stacy and Andrew and I, some other mentors will, some mentors who have run a project before will be doing that orientation. But if you'd like to join in, that would be fantastic, and just add your enthusiasm and excitement. Those are really, really fun calls because it's super great to meet everybody and everyone's so excited. So would love to see you at one of those orientations. Okay, so this is a little more detail, kind of day-to-day, what it looks like to be a mentor. As a mentor, you really have kind of 2 main roles. One is that role of the senior developer. So you are there to help technically help them navigate their issue for the week, to answer questions that come up, maybe help them if they're stumbling along something, or to provide guidance ahead of time, like this might be a good way to approach this problem. So your role is as a senior developer. Two, your role is that of the product owner, right? You mentors are the product owners of this project. So each of the issues that the Collabbies tackle during the week have some acceptance criteria. So when we are doing code review at the end of the week, you as a product owner get to decide whether or not their work meets those acceptance criteria. And the code review is a super important part of the Collab Lab. It's one of the skills that I know I went to a boot camp and there was no such thing as code review or pull requests. I have no idea what that is. I mean, honestly, until I think my third job, it was the first time I'd ever even created a pull request. So this is something new for a lot of people. So this is a huge, huge part of the Collab Lab, is getting those code review skills, getting the chance to practice that, getting the chance to work on incorporating feedback from other developers and being gracious, and learning how to give helpful and kind feedback. It's a really big part of the work that we do here. So the first round of code review is developers reviewing the other pair's code. Once it's gone through one round of code review, then the mentors do kind of a final review. And again, I want to emphasize, like, Collab Lab is much more about collaboration than it is about learning all of the perfect best practices and this is how you do things. It's much more about learning how to collaborate. So giving helpful comments, offering suggestions for different ways to approach problems, all of that is fantastic. And if you find that their code is meeting those acceptance criteria, then it's approved, right? It doesn't have to be the best, most perfect solution. So more of a product focused review than this is perfect code kind of code review. Okay, wonderful. So office hours are something that we've added to the Collab Lab starting maybe 3 cohorts ago. We're finding as Collab Lab grows and we get more and more applicants, that our applicants are more and more skilled. And we're finding that we're not needing to help them along as much throughout the project. So we weren't getting as much face time with our participants as we had been in the past. So we've instituted something called office hours. So you and your mentor team will take turns throughout the course of the project. So Muhammad would do an office hour one week, Golful would do it the next week. So it's not an expectation that you do one every single week, but you take turns hosting a synchronous meeting whenever it works best for most people. So it's not a required thing for participants, but it's just really nice time to talk about career, talk about interviewing. I use it a lot to kind of walk through code review with the participants, or just talk. A lot of people are applying for jobs, giving advice on job hunting, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes people will prepare something in advance. Maybe your team is super duper interested in testing or in different CSS and JS libraries. So sometimes you can prepare something in advance, but that is not an expectation. I just want you to know you don't have to prepare a presentation for your office hours. We want to keep this super sustainable for mentors as well. So you'll take turns hosting what am I talking about? Office hour. You'll take turns hosting office hours with your mentor team. All right, weekly syncs. Weekly syncs are probably the most exciting and fun part of being a Collab Lab mentor and a participant. This is where you get together with your whole team, all 4 participants and all 3 or 4 mentors, to kind of talk about the work that you've done over the past week, to present a learning module, to do retrospectives, and then to talk about the work that's coming up for the next week, right? So this is a time to have lots of excitement and energy. And it's important as a mentor to be really prepared, because this is the time when we are doing learning modules and running retrospectives. So they look a little bit different depending on the week. So week 0, let me talk about this first. So week 0, the very first week that you're meeting your team, is completely different from all the other weeks. So first of all, it'll be introductions, getting to know one another. Second, there will be a Git specific learning module that happens that very first 0 week. We're finding that it's just really nice to set people up for success. Like, these are the commands that you're going to need. It's not an in-depth Git overview, but there's a learning module that we have on Git that you'll present during this time. And then you'll talk about the 2 issues that the participants will be working on for the coming week. So again, it's important. So if you're the person that is presenting about the issues that the team is working on, make sure that you read through those and have an understanding of what it is that they're working on, so that they have the opportunity to ask questions, and you'll have a good idea of what those answers are. So that's the very, very, very first week. That odd numbered weeks and even numbered weeks. Odd numbered weeks, we'll start with the teams demoing the work that they've done over the past week. So I would suggest that you remind the teams that this is going to be recorded, and that this is something that they can point to future employers, right? When they're interviewing, this is a time that I demoed something in production, and this is what it's like. So having those demos be nice and polished, it's a good idea to remind participants for that. And there will be a learning module. And just know, in our mentor handbook, I'll share all of these links in our mentors channel, and I'll share them in our fall mentors channel. But we have this really great guide to weekly syncs, where it will link to all of the slides that you can use for these learning modules. They're already prepared for you. It's not a presentation that you're going to have to work on in advance and gather all the material, but just practice the slides and going through the presentation. And then there are examples of one in English and one in Spanish of each of those learning modules of somebody else in the past giving these presentations. So it gives you a good idea of what it's like. But this guide to weekly sync is fantastic. This is what you should do if you're hosting the demos part of the weekly sync. This is what retrospective might look like. This is how you can run a retrospective. So this information is there for you. It's a super valuable resource. Again, so odd numbered week demos, learning module that we'll select from these learning modules here. And then finally, at the end, mentors will lead the assignment and asking and answering any questions about the issues for the upcoming week. Even numbered weeks. Again, we start with demos, and then we host a retrospective. It's a good time for all of you to practice, like, what's been going well, what's been getting in our way, what are some action items that we can take forward, and then reminding participants throughout their time, hey, we decided to work on this, or we could get better at this. This will help us improve our work going forward. Take those action items and move forward with them. So that's what even numbered weeks look like. Oh, sorry. And at the end, again, you lead the assignment and going over those issues for the coming week. All right, one more section for me. So the weekly cadence, this section is really about how to help your Collabbies pace themselves throughout the week. So in general, your weekly sync will be on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's when you'll have your synchronous meeting. Encourage the Collabbies to really front load their development work. So aiming to have a pull request open by Wednesday of that week, because that gives plenty of time for pairing in the first part of the week, right? We expect that participants will pair with their partner for 2 hours during the week. So front load that development work, have a pull request open by Wednesday, and that gives plenty of time for the first round of code review by the other pair, and then the second round of code review by the mentors. What we find, and I think what participants are particularly surprised by, is that code review actually takes a long time because it's a lot of back and forth communication and collaboration. Like this is a huge learning point for, I mean, for a lot of people, for mentors too, but the code review part takes a lot longer than they might think. So having them aim to have up a pull request by Wednesday or Thursday is a really good goal to shoot for. Da, da, da. Oh my gosh, I think I'm done with the fire hose. Now it is Stacy's turn.
Hi, yes, a little bit more fire hose, but again, like Lauren said, all the information is here for you if you need to review it. And you're not alone. You all have an experienced mentor with you who can help you keep up to speed with things that should be happening. Okay, so the weekly recurring tactical bits, as if those other things were not. So some things that you'll have to do as a mentoring team, make sure get done, and you can assign these if they don't say, like the first one says lead mentor, to whichever mentor wants to handle those things. So the first one is scheduling meetings. And this happens, the lead mentor should take control of this because scheduling meetings can be very cumbersome. So generally what we'll do is you need to schedule the meeting for your weekly sync that Lauren was just talking about. And again, this will happen every single week at the exact same time, either on Saturday or Sunday. So when your team starts coming into Slack, create a doodle with some times on Saturday and Sunday and ask them to fill it out so that you can see when everybody would prefer to have that meeting. This can take a little bit of coordination to make compromises and agree on a time that fits, but it's really important that everybody can attend that time. So once you get everybody's feedback and you've selected a time from the doodle, in Google Calendar, create a recurring event that happens every week at that time and invite everybody on your team. You can get everybody on your team's email addresses by going into Slack in any channel and doing /emails followed by your team number. So 35, 32, 28, whatever it might be. And what that does is it'll go grab all the emails for the folks on your team, so you can just paste them into Google Calendar. They won't all be there right now because your team hasn't been selected yet. But that's an easy way to get your team's emails for your weekly office hours when you schedule those, or anything else you might need all those emails for. So that weekly sync should recur for 8 weeks. Office hours will be scheduled by whoever wants to run the office hour. Again, like as a mentor, you can just choose whatever time works well for you for that. If you can be more accommodating, if your schedule isn't super full, you can send out a doodle for your team as well. But because that's optional for the developers, it's just important that it fits well into your schedule. So Slack communication, something that will have to happen every week, is you'll post pairing threads using this workflow that you can click and see, where all of your pairs will be doing all of their communication for the week. So say it's Sunday, we just had our weekly sync. We went over issues 1 and 2, and we know which pairs are taking which. We use this workflow to create a thread in our team Slack channel for each of those issues and each of the pairs. And that's where they'll do all their communication on that particular issue. It helps keep Slack really clean. It helps mentors know where to go to keep up to date on how their team is doing and what challenges they're facing, and to get like progress updates and stuff too. So try and teach them really good Slack habits by creating these threads and encouraging them to organize their thoughts. Let's see. In Slack every week, you'll be answering questions. There will be questions. So answer them in your team channel. Again, respond in a thread to the original questions so that we can find those answers later should we need them again. And C, post the slides from the learning module. So post the view only version of the slides that you go over in your weekly sync in the channel so that they can go back over them again. Number 3, Zoom and YouTube. You'll need to choose somebody on your team to be the host of your weekly syncs. So that person, we will give them a login and password. I think that's how it's working still, right, Andrew? We'll supply.
It depends. Like we have a couple of actual licenses. We can assign people to be licensed users, and then we have, for the ones where we don't have enough licenses, they just get my username and password.
Cool.
1Password
Okay.
people. I'm really sorry. Well, we use 1Password too, sure. So I know it's not the best security hygiene, but
you'll pick somebody on your team. It's just easier to pick one person to do this every week. That person will make sure, you'll want to make sure the calendar event has the Zoom meeting, but go ahead and share that Zoom link in the channel every week too, so people can just get there really quickly and easily without having to have their calendars open. This host will start recording the meeting when your meeting starts, again, so that we can post it on YouTube. So C here is after the meeting, upload the weekly sync to the Collab Lab YouTube channel. And there's really detailed instructions on how to do that there in the link. So again, every week you'll have a calendar event that you create early on. You'll never have to create that again. You'll be really active in Slack, posting stuff that happened in the weekly syncs, including who's taking which issues and learning module slides. And you'll want to make sure every time you have a weekly sync, it gets recorded and uploaded to YouTube. These are things mostly that, again, when you do your mentor planning meeting, which we'll talk about, you can just assign somebody so you know who's going to do it every week, and it becomes kind of repetitive. You know what to expect. Okay, so team or other things that you will need to do as a mentor. At the end of the cohort, you'll collaborate with your other mentors on a Dev2 post to highlight your team. This is just a really great way to give our Collabbies some exposure and some props in a very public way. So as your team goes on, try and make notes anywhere. You can make them locally, you can make them in Slack, whatever it might be. You can look through your old retro boards of the things that they did really well and the challenges that they faced and the places where they really shined, because you'll be writing a quick recap of that when they're done. And we have so many examples of how to do this that you can check out to get a better idea. But it makes it really easy if throughout their time, you're noting these things down rather than trying to reflect in the very end. And it also makes it a lot easier if you collaborate as a whole mentor team to do it, because you all have different insights on where the team succeeded. Okay, mentor retro. At the end of every cohort, we like to have a mentor retro to see where we could improve the program and the mentor experience and the Collabbie experience. And to see what things went well, so we can continue doing those things again. In the past, we've done this synchronously by, as I mentioned, sending out a doodle, trying to get a time for everybody to get together, and then treating it like a proper retro. But the more time goes on, the harder it is to get all of our time zones and mentors on a call together. So this time we're trying an async retro, where in the mentor channel, you probably saw, we're just posting things and having chats and Slack about those things. So we'll see how that goes, but do expect there will be some kind of mentor retro, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous, when the cohort wraps. So like I mentioned before, be taking notes as the cohort goes on, and I'll spin up a retro board right away so you can add to it throughout the next 2 months. But it's best to capture those things when they actually happened, so that you remember them and so that they're fresh. Okay. Twitter is our marketing lifeblood. We don't do any other kind of marketing. This is where it all happens. So if you are on Twitter, please, be active about Collab Lab, and not just the program, but your Collabbies. This is a really great way to support them. As we all know, unfortunately, Twitter is very important in the tech community. And so lifting up your developers on Twitter and giving them, like public kudos and talking about the work they're doing can be really powerful in their career, in their job hunt. So shine some light on them in that very public way. It feels good and is very encouraging as a Collabbie to get those kind of props. And it can be helpful to them in a much bigger way when they're searching for jobs. So that's that. Other helpful ways to contribute as a mentor, as if this all wasn't enough. You can share interesting articles, inspiration, etc. in any of the Slack channels. We have a learning together one that's really cool, where if there's something that you think they can learn from, you can post there. There's also a random one where you can just post funny stuff. But being really involved in the Slack channel and lifting up all Collabbies, not just your team, can be a really powerful way to help your Collabbies, to help you get recognition and stand out to other Collabbies as a mentor at Collab Lab. So be noisy in Slack, build community, help us make everybody feel encouraged and involved and welcome. The next one is be noisy in the mentors channel about what could be improved. we have this retro, but again, in the moment, if things are happening that you're like, oh, that was weird, please post that because we don't want things to be weird. So just be really loud if you find something that can be improved, or if something went really great, let the other teams know so that they can do that kind of thing too. Like we hosted our office hours in this very specific way and the Collabbies loved it. Other mentors want to know about that so they can do that kind of stuff too. So be communicative and share your experiences with the rest of us. Participate in the application review process. Right now, this is, we can probably remove this bullet because we've taken this so that it's just team leads who are responsible for that now. This next round, we are also bringing in a couple of other mentors from the Latin American team because we didn't want the team lead to be the only person who is a native Spanish speaker reviewing applications. But high level these days, it's just team leads who are responsible for this. But if you're not a team lead right now and you become one in the future, be expecting that you'll be asked to help us go through our review and selection process, which can be a really fun way to kind of dream up these teams. So you can also give or organize tech talks. We have a whole tech talk series that has been really great and has had wonderful turnout the entire time we've done it. So if you want to give a tech talk, if you have a subject you're really passionate about, please let us know. If you know somebody who might want to give one, if you just want to help organize them, you know, host them, help us get meetups created, we could use help there as well. Yes, we have a Collabby chat right now as we speak going on. So if you're on Twitter, like pop in there and say things about the Collab Lab, help people find answers to the questions they have. Let's see, participate in Career Lab. So Career Lab is a 2-week extension on the end of the 8-week Collab Lab program. So during the Collab Lab Smart Shopping List program that they do, they learn how to collaborate on a team and they work on a team of software developers to build something. But when we were at our 5-year planning meeting, we were like, what is our goal? Our goal is to get more people into jobs in tech, developer jobs. And we found that Collab Lab does a really great job of setting them up for the skills that they need to get the jobs, but we could take it a step further by helping them prepare for their job search. So during Career Lab, we do things like LinkedIn reviews, mock interviews. We have some learning modules there too. So if you're interested in helping with that kind of stuff, it's a very volunteer heavy piece of Collab Lab. So we can totally use your help there. And you can contribute to our endless list of to-dos if you still need more to do. Do note that our to-do lists are not super refined and there's a lot of things on there that we're like, oh, this would be cool to have someday. So if you look at that and you're like, I'm not really sure what to do here, just let us know because there's probably to-dos that are even higher importance that aren't on the list that we're like just kind of managing ourselves that we would love to have some help on. So did we share mock interview videos? So Shajia asked in the chat, do we share mock interviews on the YouTube channel? We share the one that is the session where we interview other mentors, but we don't share the individual Collabby mock interviews. Those are private and like a safe space for them to grow and stuff. So the session where like Andrew is going to be interviewing me so that people can watch, and there will be a mock technical interview in that between mentors as well, will be shared. And yeah, there's so many things that you could do to help us grow at Collab Lab. As you know, we are completely volunteer run. So there's an endless list of things to do and we need to be resourceful and we need help. So if you find extra time and you want to help us do something outside of your core mentor responsibilities, please do. We will love you forever, I promise, even if we don't help do extra stuff, but
yeah, TCL has a lot of to-dos on the to-do list, and Andrew and Stacy especially are only 2 people. So we've gotten such great contributions and help from all from participants and other mentors. So we appreciate anything that you can do. So let us know if there's something you're particularly excited about. We would love to have you, and you will really save poor Stacy and Andrew.
One thing that I really want to emphasize here too is Collab Lab has been completely grown on the back of feedback from our Collabbies and our mentors. It is what it is today because of the things that y'all have told us work and don't work. So it's it's crucial that you be really loud about those things, be really loud about feedback. It's the only way we can learn and grow what needs to happen to make this experience even better. There are so many things. The mentor experience, I feel like, has been behind the Collab experience. I feel like we've gotten the Collab experience to a state that's really pretty comfortable and they know what to expect. But the mentor side of things, we still need to really ramp up. So as you're going through the mentor checklist and stuff, which this is only the second time we're going to be using it, and you see things that need to be improved, please make those improvements or let us know about them, because once a week goes by, you forget all about it. And then we experience it again during the next cohort. So just be really loud about things that we improved and make your experience better.
Absolutely. Awesome. So speaking of the mentor checklist, the very next thing that you'll want to do as a mentor team is the team lead of your team will set up a meeting for the mentors on your team. So this is a time where you can plan out who's going to do what week to week, get to know one another, and then make a plan. So-and-so is going to do this learning module. I'm going to do demos. Hey, how about you? Could you do retrospective? So we have a couple of places, and I'll share these in the channel after our meeting is done. So here is a mentor planning meeting agenda template, right? There's this one. I prefer using the Google Doc, but there's also a Notion document that you can use. So here you can go through, and even asynchronously, you can do this part, decide who is going to be responsible for which part of the weekly sync ahead of time. It's just a really nice, I know Stacy and I would mentor together in the past. We'd be like, oh my gosh, who's doing what this weekend? So it's really nice to know ahead of time what you're doing and when. So there's that Google Doc that you can make a copy of. And then there's also a Notion checklist. So you can make a copy of this template and go through that. And this one has a lot of really good information about what you can do during week 0, send details of the upcoming weekly sync. So someone could be responsible for saying, hey, this is what we're doing this weekend. I'm just sending out a routine message every week. So take a look at this. And again, if you have questions about this checklist, there's a lot on here. But yeah, if you have questions, please let us know. What were you going to say?
My idea with this checklist was that I want mentoring to be as autopilot with these tactical things as possible. Yeah. And so I wanted to have a place where it literally lists out everything, like Lauren pointed out, send details of upcoming weekly syncs, like all the to-dos that you would have to do throughout the program. So with examples. So if you open that, send details of upcoming weekly sync.
This one? Yep. One moment. Open.
Yeah, so there's sample Slack messages in some of these that you can piggyback off of so that you don't have to come up with it on your own. And there's links directly to the learning modules and stuff from these. So I'm trying to consolidate all the information you might need into one space. If you happen to send out a really great, message of some sort, Slack message that could be a good example, pop in here and update the template, because that can be really helpful for people going forward. Because if I were to tell you today, hey, you have a weekly sync this weekend, send out a message so your team knows, I feel like anybody who hasn't done it before would be like, what do I say? And so it's like, if we can set you up for success by providing an example, I think that it can make it a lot easier. So please make improvements to this. This is the only second time we've used it. And I think there's a lot of missing information still.
Yep. Oh no. Hang in there. Okay, so mentor planning meeting is the very next thing that you're going to want to do. And ideally, I guess it doesn't really matter when that happens, as long as it happens before the cohort, but it'll just help you feel like you know what you're doing throughout your time here. Oh my gosh. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. I'm really excited to kind of be an outsider looking in and be there to support mentors more directly this time around. So please feel free to reach out to me with questions. I would just love to help and be there for you. So We really appreciate your time. We know that it's a big time commitment, and we want it to be as much fun and rewarding for you as it is for our participants. So this is for you too. So thank you all.
I know we covered a ton of information. So I'm sure, it's probably swirling around your heads at the moment. So high level, we want you to be encouraging, want you to be a warm demander, like bring that attitude to everything. And the other things will all kind of work out. All the tactical stuff, all all the stuff that happens every week and all the things that need to happen in certain orders, all that kind of stuff. That stuff is all documented. We're all happy to answer questions. It's going to feel, and we actually tell the developers this too when we do our kickoffs with them or orientations with them, that it's going to feel like, like when you try to read the rules to a board game and then start playing it, and it's all confusing. And then once you start playing it, it all starts to make sense, right? So you'll get in there and, you have an experienced, there's at least one experienced mentor on every team that can kind of like show you the ropes and all that kind of stuff. So just trust that, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly and contribute how you can. I think, all of you come up from different professional backgrounds too. So, if there are things that you've seen that you think would be a good addition to the program or something, feel free to, add that to your team, talk to the other mentors about it. We'll have a mentors channel for this cohort. Yeah, those are things that we could, end up adding to the program and kind of benefiting everybody. So, like Laura and Stacy have said, I'm so glad you're all here, and we're gonna have a great time in this next cohort. Thanks, everybody.
Yay! Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? It's okay if you don't have them right now. You will at some point, and that is totally expected and amazing. So when you do have them, just share them in the mentors channel, because probably somebody else has that same question. So by being really transparent and sharing those in the open, not only can you get more robust answers because you have different insights to pull from, but everybody else can learn and grow together too.
Great.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
All
See
right.
you soon.
Bye, friends. Good to see you. Bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.